Imagine a conflict that has lasted for decades, shaping an entire region, yet never officially declared. This is the story of Israel and Iran, a cold conflict fought through secret agents, cyber attacks, and proxy groups. For over 40 years, this silent battle simmered beneath global headlines, assassinations, sabotage, and political maneuvering. But now, the quiet war is breaking into the open. Direct military strikes, once unthinkable, are a new reality, sending shockwaves worldwide. What began as a regional rivalry now threatens global stability. The United States backs Israel, Russia partners with Iran. The stakes are global, not just regional. The rivalry affects energy markets, with the threat of conflict in the Persian Gulf spiking oil prices. A single miscalculation could have catastrophic consequences for international security. To understand how we reached this point, we must look back to a time when Israel and Iran were unlikely friends. Their journey from allies to enemies is dramatic, filled with twists, betrayals, and revolutionary upheaval. Understanding this conflict is essential to understanding the forces shaping our world today. The roots of this animosity run deep, and the transformation from partnership to enmity is at the heart of the story. The story begins in a very different era, when the flags of Israel and Iran flew side by side. Let's go back to when it all began. It may seem impossible now, but Israel and Iran were once close partners. Before 1979, under Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran was a monarchy with strong Western ties. Both nations, non-Arab and surrounded by hostile neighbors, found common cause. Iran supplied Israel with oil, bypassing regional boycotts, while Israel shared technology and expertise. Military and intelligence cooperation ran deep. Israel trained Iran's secret police, and both shared intelligence on mutual threats. The alliance was pragmatic, rooted in shared interests and a desire for regional stability. Israel maintained a large, unofficial diplomatic mission in Tehran. For nearly 3 decades, this partnership shaped the Middle East. But beneath the surface, resentment brewed among Iranians opposed to the Shah's pro-Western rule. Religious conservatives, led by the exiled Ayatollah Khomeini, saw the alliance as a betrayal of Islamic values. This tension would soon erupt, toppling the Shah and shattering the alliance. The stage was set for a dramatic transformation. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution swept away the Shah and centuries of monarchy. Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile, establishing an Islamic republic guided by religious law and revolutionary ideology. At the heart of this new regime was fierce hostility toward Israel, now seen as an illegitimate Western-backed enemy. The Israeli embassy in Tehran was closed, handed to the Palestine Liberation Organization, and all ties were severed. Iran's new government made anti-Israel ideology a central pillar, acting on it immediately. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, was tasked with exporting the revolution, starting in Lebanon. Iranian advisors helped create Hezbollah, a powerful new proxy force. The transformation was total. Former allies became bitter enemies, locked in a struggle of ideology and survival. Iran's leaders saw Israel's destruction as a religious duty, making compromise nearly impossible. The revolution didn't just change Iran, it redrew the battle lines of the Middle East. A new, bitter Cold War had begun. The conflict would now be fought in the shadows. Unable to confront Israel directly, Iran turned to proxy warfare. It built a network of allied militias, the axis of resistance, to surround and pressure Israel. The crown jewel is Hezbollah in Lebanon, created with IRGC support and now armed with over 150,000 rockets aimed at Israel. Hezbollah has fought Israel repeatedly, most notably in the 2006 war, and remains a constant threat on Israel's border. Iran also funds and arms groups like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza, despite sectarian differences. In Syria, Iran props up Bashar al-Assad, securing a land bridge to supply Hezbollah. This strategy keeps the fight far from Iran's borders and gives Tehran plausible deniability. Israel faces multiple enemies on multiple fronts, all backed by Iran. The axis of resistance has turned the region into a potential battlefield, making the conflict unpredictable and hard to contain. Proxy warfare allows Iran to strike at Israel without direct confrontation. The shadow war is now a regional chess game, with Tehran pulling many of the strings. The stakes have never been higher. The battlefield is everywhere. Israel has responded to Iran's proxy network with its own shadow warfare. Unable to strike Tehran directly, Israel disrupts Iranian operations through covert missions, assassinations, and cyber attacks. Israeli airstrikes in Syria target Iranian bases and weapons convoys, aiming to prevent advanced arms from reaching Hezbollah. In the digital realm, Israel is believed to have launched the Stuxnet virus, crippling Iran's nuclear program. Cyber sabotage and targeted killings of nuclear scientists have become hallmarks of this conflict. These operations send a clear message: Israel will not tolerate unchecked Iranian advances. The war is now fought with drones, hackers, and spies as much as with bombs. Each side tries to stay one step ahead, escalating the conflict in new and unpredictable ways. The silent war is relentless, high stakes, and largely invisible to the world. In this shadowy battlefield, no one is ever truly safe. At the heart of the rivalry is Israel's overriding fear: a nuclear-armed Iran. For Israel, this is an existential threat, one it has vowed never to allow. Sabotage, cyber attacks, and assassinations are all aimed at derailing Iran's nuclear ambitions. Israel argues that diplomacy, like the 2015 nuclear deal, only delays the inevitable. The US withdrawal from the deal in 2018 led Iran to accelerate its nuclear program, raising tensions further. Israel faces a dilemma: risk a massive regional war with a military strike, or accept the danger of a nuclear Iran. The clock is ticking, and the stakes could not be higher. The world watches as Israel weighs catastrophic risks against existential fears. This single issue overshadows every other aspect of the conflict. The threat of a nuclear Iran is a dark cloud over the entire region. For decades, Israel and Iran fought indirectly, through proxies, spies, and sabotage. But recently, the conflict has erupted into open confrontation. The turning point came on October 7, 2023, when Hamas launched a massive attack on Israel, fundamentally shifting Israel's response. Clashes with Hezbollah escalated, leading to daily exchanges of fire and deep Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon. In September 2024, Israel's Operation Northern Arrows targeted Hezbollah's leadership and infrastructure. The shadow war was now in plain sight. After an Israeli strike killed a senior Iranian general, Iran retaliated with a direct missile attack on Israel, breaking a long-standing taboo. Israel prepared its own strikes against Iran, and tit-for-tat attacks became the new normal. The conflict is now fought with ballistic missiles and large-scale operations, not just covert actions. Each escalation risks triggering an uncontrollable all-out war. Explosions and attacks continue, a constant reminder that the Cold War has turned dangerously hot. The region stands on a knife's edge. The world holds its breath. The Israel-Iran conflict is a global powder keg, not just a regional dispute. The US backs Israel. Russia often aligns with Iran, turning the Middle East into a chessboard for great power rivalry. The world's oil supply flows through the Strait of Hormuz. Any conflict could send prices soaring and trigger a global recession. Humanitarian consequences would be catastrophic: millions of civilians at risk, governments destabilized, and waves of refugees. Extremist groups could thrive in the chaos, spreading instability far beyond the region. Diplomats scramble to prevent escalation, but deep mistrust makes progress elusive. The international community is largely a spectator, unable to control events. Every move is watched with anxiety, as the fate of the region, and perhaps the world, hangs in the balance. The stakes are global and the risks are immense. The world cannot look away. As of June 2025, peace between Israel and Iran seems more distant than ever. The conflict is now about identity and survival, not just politics or territory. Hostility to Israel is central to Iran's regime. For Israel, a nuclear Iran is intolerable. Neither side is willing to compromise, and direct military strikes have created a perilous new reality. The old rules are gone, uncertainty reigns. Will the cycle of attacks continue, or will a miscalculation trigger a regional war? Diplomatic efforts face immense obstacles. Trust is non-existent. Both sides are locked in an arms race, preparing for the next round. The situation is volatile, shaped by ancient hatreds and modern weaponry. The world can only hope for restraint, but hope is not a strategy. The future remains unwritten, clouded by the smoke of a long and bitter struggle.